film starring Vince Vaughn where the point is to be as wholesome as possible? That can't work. Can that work?
I'm not asking you to do this for me. I'm asking you to do it for you and for my mom.
You using Catholic guilt on me?
I learned it from the best.
Right on.
Netflix, what are you doing with your hands on something like this? A true story about a man in his 50s who loses his mother, uses her life insurance money to open a restaurant where he hires actual Italian grandmothers to cook instead of professional chefs. Add a Christmas tree and this is a Hallmark film. Netflix, you don't like nice things. What are you doing with this? Nonnas stars Vince Vaughn, and I'm not a Vince Vaughn fan overly, so you can be forgiven if you turn up your nose at the idea of this, especially given it's not an outright comedy. There's a lot of emotion and drama to this, and I didn't expect him to be able to pull off the lead role in that kind of situation. And it is a basic formula, but there are just certain things you cannot hate on. One is the feel-good energy of this, another is Linda Cardinelli, a third is old ladies bickering, starting fires with animal heads, and talking for elongated periods of time about Susan Sarandon's breasts. Yep. Joe loses his mother, starts making her and his grandmother's old recipes, gets told to find a new lease on life, and then buys a restaurant, is a terrible businessman, but lucks into it working eventually because this is a feel-good film. Also, it is based on a true story, but I'd be dubious about some of those facts around how bad a start they got off to. I mean, if this was in my neighborhood, I would have been. The emotional, like, the nature of telling someone, oh, you miss your grandmother and her cooking? Come here, we've got it. Like, boom! Like, it's a nasty hit. It's a swift rabbit punch to my emotional core. I couldn't handle it. So it's a pretty simplistic idea. Food porn, talking about sad things in equal measure. Vince Vaughn and Linda Cardinelli have a very nice kind of midlife crisis romance going on. And the grannies are just really funny. They're just such great characters and they just work well as an ensemble. Talia Shire is this timid ex-nun. Love it. Sicilian and Bolognese. Bolognese? Do people from Bologna call themselves Bolognese? No, that'd be insane, right? Anyway, and then Susan Sarandon there as their pastry chef. It is just such a fun ensemble cast that just works together and works so well together, and it is so fun. I think of it as Chef Light. If you've never seen Chef, banging. One of my favorite feel-good films, absolutely. And this is similar in that it mixes romance, emotional punches, and food porn all into one. It's not as good, it's not on the same level, but it does go for more of the emotional digs, inevitably. Talking about dead grandmothers. Jesus, man. It feels like the sort of thing that's going to give your grandmother the kind of, aha, I can do anything moment that white guys get while watching Captain America movies. It's not just me, right? Okay. Vince Vaughn I still don't think is an incredible actor or anything, but when I think about it, he has been in more than a few things that I think are quite impressive outside of the comedy genre. And he is just surrounded here by such a lovely story, such a great ensemble cast that just works so well. And it's also not trying to be an outright comedy, which I think is important, you know. Not even just the emotional ooh of like the dramatic moments and the missing your grandmother stuff, but also just being a kind of simple, happy melodrama. It just does all these things very well. It's a sweet, lovable film without ever threatening to jump into the territory of, oh my god, how have Netflix produced such a masterpiece? Like, it's not that. But it is just simple and fun, and it's hard to imagine somebody not having fun with this, which is as good as it gets with streaming slop. You know, if you didn't particularly love it, I wouldn't, that's fine. But if you actively hated this film, I'd start looking at you with suspicion, like, what happened to you? Yeah. Anyway, I'm giving Golden Girls Meets the Bear 3.5 stars. I mean, Hacksaw Ridge. Vince Vaughn was in Hacksaw Ridge. That's true. And he was good in that dramatic role. Yeah. He was also in Jurassic Park 2, though. He sucked in that, yeah. It's the duality of man, yeah.